Okay, great. All right, so thanks everyone for joining us. This is the first in a series of Policy Saturday series, which we hope will help to prepare people for the Policy Hackathon. I will do a quick introduction of the Policy Shapers team and the work that we do, and also give you a bit of what we have in mind for the Policy Hackathon holding from August 12 to 14, 2022. And then I'll throw it open to the team to just share their experiences based on the various hackathons we've taken part in and our various experiences and how it helped us as individuals and together as a team, and everything that it led to. Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead. Okay, so about Policy Shapers, I'm sure quite a number of you already know what we do, since this is a community thing. But just for those who will listen to the recording or watch it on YouTube, Policy Shapers is a civic tech organization that mainstreams youth in public policy in Nigeria by promoting policy ideation, policy dialogue, and policy advocacy led by young people. We were launched on August 12, 2020. That's International Youth Day. So by next month, we'll be 2 years old. Still quite a toddler, but we seem to have been taking on very tough challenges. Our community currently has 300 plus, almost 400 people, which we of course currently trying to see how we can work around ways to engage them and keep them active. We believe our unique idea is policy, tech, and youth. We're finding a way to work at the intersection of policy, tech, and youth and see how we can get young people to leverage technology, to influence policy in their respective countries. Of course, we're beginning from Nigeria, but we believe that would expand as the tech and startup world will expand to other parts of the world as well. Your internet is unstable. Okay, seems you guys can hear me now. Okay, our strategy is open source, dynamic, evidence-led. As you see from things like the Reform IELTS policy campaign, all of what we do has data at the center of it. Some of the tools that we use include policy memos, petitions, research reports, social media like TikTok and Twitter and Zoom and Slack and all those things that we use to bring people together. And our vision is to raise a new generation of policymakers. Yeah. Our work over the past 1 year plus, almost 2 years, we launched a website for aggregating policy ideas, which, by the way, was built by all of us in the team. Still pretty amateur, but it's going to have a new look in the coming months. We've participated in 3 global hackathons, which we'll talk about. We emerged third globally during the policy track of the Stanford Open Datathon. We've also hosted policy dialogues at the Creative Commons Global Summit. That was last year when they held their 20th anniversary, and UNESCO's Open Education Resources Camp. We've secured close to 2K dollars in grants and in-kind support. We've developed a policy framework for virtual universities to leverage open data. I mean, this is one of the most original things that we've done, which of course led to our invitation to the Creative Commons Global Summit and UNESCO to present. And by the way, this also came out from a hackathon I participated in. Yeah. And I mean, you guys already know the Reform IELTS campaign, which we've been leading over the past 8+ months, seeking English language quality for Anglophone Africans, which of course could lead to $10 million in savings for Nigeria and up to $15 million in savings for Africa. By the right, you have some of our partners we've worked with and continue to work with. Our team, you'll be hearing from them, these powerful people. Chimdi Chukukere is our policy dialogue lead. Comfort Ayaga is our policy community lead. Terry Akinrotan is our policy literacy lead. So most of the conversations around how to do literacy in the policy space, she handles that. Toby Oseni is our policy ideation lead. So all of the work around our websites and building policy ideas and stuff from the policy hackathon is on his table. And Kenny Adebi, who we also call Prof, is our policy and advocacy lead. So the work around reform IELTS policy and all is there. And I'm Ebenezer Wikina. I'm their humble servant that works with them to ensure that all of the various things we do at Policy Shapers comes up to desired results. My experience, of course, up to 40 plus years in combined work experience across multiple sectors. Our education has gone from as far as Nigeria, University of Calabar, University of Ife to Harvard and Indiana and Walden and Founder Institute, etc. And we also were affiliated as individuals and also as a group to several organizations, including the World Economic Forum, UNESCO, Open Government Partnership, NESG, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. All right. So quickly, I'll just talk about the, can you guys hear me? Can you still hear me? Just in case I broke off at the end.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'll just take the next 2 slides, talk about the hackathon, and then we go into the most important part where we hear from the other team members sharing their experiences from the hackathon, and then we can take questions after that, and we'll be done. So the idea for the hackathon is we've been thinking about it, of course, from participating in various global hackathons, and from having the mandate as policy shapers, seeing a future where we think young people are more active in the policy space, and we're not just engaging government and asking questions, but we're asking questions from a policy angle, and we have young people coming up with policy ideas. And as a group, we noticed that before we came together to establish policy shapers, we're not really like policy experts or anything like that, right? We just came together as young people who had various ideas and thought. Okay, so someone's mic is on. Can you put off your mic, please? Okay, thanks. So yeah, so we just came together and just thought that we should do something, and from one policy hackathon, we became an organization, and everything that you've seen, whether it's reform IELTS and all the things that we've been able to do. So we believe that there's a need for something similar in Nigeria, and that the election does provide a perfect opportunity to give young people a platform, right? To see how they can set the agenda for the general elections. And the young people who attend or participate might not be policy experts, it might just be random social media folks, right? But from the experience we've seen, and hopefully from the policy Saturday classes, we hope that people can begin to get a hang of writing policy memos, doing research, building a team, and eventually we can then get people during those 48 hours to come up with ideas that would solve problems that we think are the urgent youth development challenges. Yeah, so that's the general idea behind the policy hackathon. Some of the key activities, I mean, a lot of times in development space, we see a lot of one-off activities, but the team thought that to make this very sustainable, we shouldn't just do a one-off hackathon and just be done, right? We have activities that build into the hackathon and activities that build out of the hackathon. So one of them that most of you must have seen is the survey on urgent youth issues. That's currently going on. I think it closes tomorrow. So if you haven't taken the survey, please do well to check our website. It's a 1-minute survey. The idea is that the findings from the survey, of course, will be written as a report, but we'll also use those findings to form the track for the hackathon. So for example, currently you can give it for free. Some of the tracks that are already popping up, people think education and ASU strikes should be something that we should handle, or something that we should collectively work together on during the hackathon. People also think that unemployment and underemployment is key. I think third on the list is police brutality and insecurity. So, I mean, just from the survey, we hope that we'll be able to form the various tracks for the hackathon and then also share some of the findings that we've gotten from that in a quick report. The policy Saturday classes are already on. We hold every Saturday in July with various speakers. We're just opening that session today as a team. The hackathon itself will hold from August 12 to 14. Official registration will commence on Monday, so people can register. If you have teams already, if you want to form a team, even if you don't have a team and you just register, we can see how we can find ways to work around and put you together in a team for the hackathon. At the end of the hackathon, there will be a compendium of policy ideas. We hope that, of Of course, there'll be finalists and there'll be prize money and prize winners, etc. But of course, all the ideas are written during the hackathon and submitted during the hackathon competition. We put them together. Okay, internet connection is not stable. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, it's gone now. All right. So we'll put them together. Yeah, thanks. So we'll put them together and make it like a document, a book, an infographic, something. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet, but I'm sure that's what we'll all figure out together. And we'll use that as an advocacy document, advocacy tool, which we would all, including the winners, those who have the ideas, the rest of us in the community, would then use that to engage the key candidates, to make noise on social media, to find ways to get the right people to listen to us on those key issues. So it's not just the problems you're going to say. We're not just going to say stop unemployment. You're going to say, team A, team B, team C says stop unemployment like this. This is how they think you can solve it. So it's like youth solutions to youth problems. So yeah, so it's not going to just be a one-off thing. There'll be an after engagements that we think will be very useful with the election system. Yeah, so I think I've talked too much. So I think that is a bit about the hackathon and about policy shapers. At this point, I will hand over the mic to Comfort, who is our policy community lead, and she would talk about the experience from the MIT COVID-19 Policy Act.
Thank you very much, Eben. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited to share this experience today because I see how timely this Naija policy hackathon is, in the history of Nigeria today. And I'm excited about the fact that this is led by young people. So my name is Comfort again. This is the voice behind the face you saw on the team slide. So I'm sure that I'm sure that a lot of people on this call are either interacted in one way or the other, or would be interacting for the first time on this platform. But it's possible that you've been friends and have connected via social media, or you heard about policy shapers and you decided to jump on this train. Like, I mean, it's a bandwagon that you really want to jump in, and invite your friends as well to join. I remember the first time before we participated in the policy hackathon. It was during the year of the pandemic when Ebenezer tweeted, and we responded. Although I've known Ebenezer prior to that time, but for Kenny, Chimdi, Terry, and Toby, yes, we're connecting for the first time on Twitter. So this is the power of technology. And so we're able to, beyond that, came together as a team. And that was when we actually agreed to adopt, was it Team Naija or Naija?
It was Team Naija something. Team Naija.
Yes, it was.
Like that.
Yeah. So this is taking you down memory lane, right? So that because we have different tracks on this Naija policy hackathon that will be coming up. And then I'm just trying to, make you guys feel comfortable, feel at home. You don't have to feel like, hey, I must be in a track where I know someone, or I have had connection with that person, prior to this policy hackathon exercise that will be coming up. No, you really do not want, in fact, you don't want to limit yourself to the space you have been, up until this time, because we all met on Twitter. And guess what? See the beautiful thing that has been bettered out of that meeting, on Twitter. Regardless of the ban of Twitter, we took it beyond. So we're all able to apply to the Stanford MIT COVID-19 policy hackathon. And I'm sure that a lot of you, if you have been following policy shapers for a very long, since we started, you must have seen the policy memo that we were able to put together as a result of this policy hackathon. That was the Nigerian Public Education in a post-COVID world, Strategies for Inclusive Learning and Tertiary Institution. So that policy, that hackathon was not open to Nigerians only. It was a global hackathon, organized by the MIT. So for the first time, we worked together, and our score was 42/50. And the judges were from Harvard, MIT. We even had judges from Yale University. I remember that we did a lot of research within 48 hours, like real-time research. It wasn't just desk review. We were able to come up together. It's all about teamwork, right? And as we believe in teamwork. So if you identify a track, you see that there's a pressing issue that you want to really, 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 really work on. You want to come up with a policy memo, for. I mean, it's like for the participants here, I would say that you have that firsthand information. It's a good thing that you're on this call right now. You have enough time, to start thinking about what you would do, because for the policy Saturdays, we'll be taking you through how, I mean, it's going to be a series of mentorship sections for you to learn how to hack within 24 hours, and you're able to come up with a sound policy memo. This policy memo was published by the Harvard and Hackathon, as well as the MIT and Stanford guys. It was a global policy, but then, narrowing down to Nigeria, because this is the pressing issue that was affecting us. Recall that during the pandemic, a lot of schools were shut down, from nursery, primary, secondary, and tertiary institution. Why? Because we're not up to date, with where the world was as at then. The new world order, just took us unawares. Our lecturers were not even equipped enough to be able to even adapt to the system, to the new world order. So even the youth were ahead. So how do you expect the youth to rely on a system that have outdated structure or infrastructure? How do you expect you to learn from lecturers during the pandemic? We never can tell what will happen again in the next 2-3 years. Could there be another pandemic? So those were issues, that were pressing to us as a then, because we don't want to be left behind. If you go to our website, you see a seat on the table.
Yeah.
It's time for the youth to bring their own seats to the table, my dear. Nobody's going to bring. Hello? Charles, could you please mute your mic? Or if you have a comment, you could drop it on the comment section. Thank you. Yeah, so the policy hackathon held from June 13 to 14, hosted by Stanford, MIT and Harvard. It was a collaborative exercise by these three institutions. And the goal of the hackathon was to develop a policy solution to aid recovery in the post-COVID world. So right now, I know you can all see, I mean, a lot of people are no longer waiting for the Nigerian education system. A lot of people are acquiring, are getting into programs virtually, I mean, things are getting better, I must say, because we are no longer where we are or where we were during the pandemic. Youth have even gone beyond the institutions and where Nigeria is, but should we leave it there? That's my question. The answer would be no. And that's why we are organizing this, because we want guys, to come up and from the feedback we've gotten so far from the survey, we see that education is top on the priority. So what then happens? You have to still go back and do your research, identify areas where there are gaps. Is it an issue of budgetary allocation and all of that?
Yeah.
So by the time we get on that part, on the main policy hackathon day, you'll be able to forward your ideas together within that time frame. So our policy memo, I've mentioned this before, was titled Nigerian Public Education in a Post-COVID World, Strategies for Inclusive Learning in Tertiary Institution. Look at today, everybody's at home. ASU is on strike. What's even happening to the lecturers? What is the education budget today? Are Nigerian students, going to be left behind, even regardless of the fact that with the little resources, I mean, if we had lecturers who were equipped enough, and who had the technical capacity to continue to drive academic activities, I do not think that the impact will be as huge as it is today. Thank you. So
Thank you.
Keep an open mind as we look forward to having you guys onboarded for the hackathon section.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Comfy. Thanks a lot. Great to hear from you. And yeah, just like Kofi said, this was the first time we were ever coming together. I don't think we even ever imagined that there will be an organization or there will even be anything like Reform IELTS or anything at all, really. We didn't even know that we're going to score as high as 42 or 50. Because for most of us, not all of us, it was the first time we were actually writing together a policy memo in the format that the folks at MIT and Harvard and Co had put it down for us. So yeah, so that was our experience at the first hackathon. The second one we will call Chimdi and Kenny. Yeah. I'm not sure who will go first. You guys can choose who will go first. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll go. I don't know. Kenny, will you go first?
Yeah, Chimdi is fine. You can go first.
Okay. So yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and also thank you to everyone who joined us on this our first policy Saturday. I think Comfort already introduced and covered several aspects of how we started, and even Eben spoke about how we started both policy shapers and just the hackathon. And I'll just double down on that to say that one interesting aspect of our first outing for a hackathon is that the education track was not even part of the track that Harvard offered.
Yeah.
They had other tracks. It was Eben that emailed them and said, Eben emailed them, giving them making a case for why education should be included in a track. And that was the way they created that track for us. And I could even go to make the case that it was even because of that we didn't come up with a position, because originally our track was we are like outliers who came in and outperformed even others. So after the first hackathon, we were gingered, is that word. We were energized, and before you know it, we got an email from the organizers of MIT Hackathon that there was, I think that was how we got to know about the second hackathon, the Stanford Open Data. So we got an email inviting us for that, and we applied. And this time around, having already known ourselves as a team, we so I'll just, in terms of talk about how we were able to do what we did, because in this hackathon we came third, and we are the only team from Africa, and we came third, and we competed against several people from different. I think the people that emerged first was from Singapore or so, if I can remember correctly. I think they were from Singapore. So one of the things that helped us especially was team building, teamwork, and just division of labor, in terms of once we had already had our first experience. So coming into this experience, we knew that, okay, we just have 48 hours. And you don't even have all of that 48 hours. Most times it's maybe 36. And we divided it. So Chimdi is in US, and it doesn't have a challenge with internet, like maybe people that are in Nigeria at that moment. So Chimdi takes care of the research then. And as Chimdi is working on the research and getting all the data or what is needed, Comfort and Eben are working on writing and editing, and Kenny and Chimdi and Terry and these other guys. So we divided our work and we knew who was handling what, and each person, we had the time and the time limit for us to bring all we wanted to do together. Then also, I think another thing that helped us was just the mentorship hours. So one of the things we'll be having in this Naija Hackathon, is mentorship hours. And I just want to give a brief highlight of what that is all about. It's just, is throughout the hackathon, throughout the 48 hours that you'll be hacking, there will be available Zoom rooms where experts, people who have done policy work in the past. It could be one of us, it could be Eben, it could also be, we are planning to get as much experts as possible. Because, and the idea is that as you're working on your hackathon, you have time that you can come into a Zoom room, a mentorship hour room, and you come in and you ask questions of how can you do this, how can you go about the data, how can you source the data, how can you come about this. Any question that you have throughout the process, there are mentors available, and there are various Zoom rooms that will be provided. And for us during our time at the hackathon, this was very helpful to us. We were able to leverage the opportunity to talk to Stanford, professors, professionals from the industry. We ask them questions. You leverage those it helps you to grow and helps you to know that you are working on the right track. So I think mentorship hours helped us a lot. And then also in our group, jokes, feel good vibes. It helps a lot. Like I don't think you stay all night and stay for 24 hours. Everybody working, nobody's laughing, nobody's the guy that's telling the joke. Nobody's talking about how bad the Nigerian government is or how flawed is taking some people in Lagos. There has to be someone in that team that's, throwing in the memes, and all of that, and keeping the team lively. And I think that's also another area that we had. So generally, from before Kenny continues, I would say that this experience is one that improves you. You find yourself being on a task for more than 24 hours. It's exciting because you know that there's a deadline. You know that after 24 hours or after 36 hours, you are going to submit, and you know that you are going to be judged by very great experts who will score you, and you know that you're competing for this Naija Hackathon. You know that you're competing, maybe you're in Abuja, you're competing from someone in Imo State or someone from Port Harcourt or someone from anywhere. So whether you're in the public university and you're in the private university, you're competing against each other. So that trio, those are some of the experiences we had, and it's always energetic. For us, when we are working, Eben and Comfort, and I think Kenny then I don't know whether Kenny had come to the US by then, but some of them were in Nigeria. So there were times that they are working and I'm sleeping, and they are sleeping and I'm working. So so it's collaboration. Yeah, the three enjoying it and knowing that this is just 36 hours that you have, and you just put in your best, and it just helps you grow. It's like focused work for a specific amount. You will never forget the experience. And so I'm glad that you have chosen to join our Nigeria Hackathon, and also encourage you to tell your friends. I know schools are on strike, and several people, both not limited to university students, it's youths in Nigeria. What is that is bothering you? You come in, you register, you choose a track. It's not a must, as Comfort says, it's not a must. Maybe you have been in education advocacy for long. There might be a track on climate change. Try it, go in there. You don't have to be an expert there. So we look forward to receiving your applications, and we can't wait to have you join us throughout the policy Saturdays and also for the policy hackathon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chimdi. Really, really wonderfully said. I like how you covered everything else. Kenny, do you want to jump in quickly?
Yeah, just for a few minutes. I think Chimdi has said a lot actually, but I'll just touch on some 2 points. I think it's a great opportunity, particularly at this time. It's critical to have policy making, and as everyone said, you don't need to be an expert. Why we want to bring in solutions for the nation's development, it's also a learning process. I think that was the most important key part for me. But one thing I would love to highlight is the overload of information. So imagine you have 4 members in a team and you have 48 hours to work on a policy hackathon. All of you will come with different information and research. how do you want to filter it out with the greatest sense of diplomacy? You could imagine like, okay, I read a paper for like 3 hours and eventually we're in a meeting and just only one line was taken off it. You must be able to compromise. That, okay, it's not about you, it's not really about the hard work, it's about getting the job done. If I can remember vividly, and Ebenezer can correct me if I'm wrong, like, I think a policy memo should not be more than 1,000 words, like, because there's a way you have to organize it. So you can't put everything there. You want to go straight to the point, you want to visualize your data. So you guys are gonna struggle with overload of information, but that's the fun of it, because you agree to disagree and also disagree to agree. So that's one of the things that make it look okay. So, and I think another part of it is cramming data. So when we have a lot of information online, I think one thing that we did at both Hackathon for the Stanford Open Data Fund and also the MIT was that we tried our best to like get primary data. So we interviewed people. It was short, and we are aiming for about 20 respondents at some point, and we had about, I think, 50 or 60. So based on the hard work we put into it, we are just all passionate about it. We knew that like we wanted to learn, but we're also concerned that whatever we are writing may affect future development. Some persons will cite it in their future research. So I think a bit of passion is essential. And also, like, I'm not really like an open data transparency person or something. I don't know much about it, but I'm a microbiologist and I do more of SDGs project. But this was the first time I worked on it. So I had an open mind to learn. I don't need to say, oh, we should choose another topic entirely because this is not my area of expertise. But I had an open mind to learn, and it was very, very fun. And also recognizing people's strengths also matters. Like, Ebenezer is a great writer. When it comes to like, meeting the deadline, like, when we look like things are going on and we've not touched maybe some latter part of the memo, we just have to trust what Ebenezer writes. Like, sometimes some of us will go through it because like we can also be critical. But comfort is so meticulous. That's one thing I like about her. So you need to know that strength. Comfort pays attention to the little details, and you see her commenting, and we get to see things to change things that are so critical we never put our mind onto. The likes of Shinde is very good with research, and he also recognized the power of his resources. I was not in the US then, but he knows he has better internet facilities. Whenever we need anything, you just see him, we drop it online. Like, he saw this, he saw that. While I have a large network of persons, I'm always the one putting the primary data out to ensure that people get to feel it and all of those stuff. So noting your team members' strengths, getting together is very, very essential within the first couple of hours. And you also don't want to like bring down some person's efforts, no matter how much you think how much you disagree. But generally, I'm excited about this experience. And for me, I'm also, despite that I'm part of the organizer, I'm looking forward to the learning experience, to meet people, and also to see things from a better perspective. And I can also just tell you that we are looking forward to working with you. We hope that this will, number one, bet a transformation in the country. Also, we get to do this more often. And hopefully even have some of you as members of the team, organizing team for the next year policy hackathon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kenny and Chimdi. I feel you guys have just touched on everything, all of the aspects of the hackathon. Thank you for all of those thoughts. We'll move on quickly to the next one, which was the most recent one we participated in. Toby, do you want to go next?
Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I think the policy hackathon for me was a really transforming moment, because it was just before I did a little work with the Igbo government in Nigeria, the policy analyst. And it was really like a very transformative moment. The collaboration was interesting. Being able to also rely on your own strengths. Each member of the team has like individual strengths, and the fact that you're able to come together and see how you can consolidate that. I remember I couldn't join the event team because of the team size number, and I was on another team with a group of other people across the board. And what was really interesting about my team was that there were people who had like public health background. I had a mix of technology and education, and then and so that diversification was essential for us to share different ideas and also see the fact that a lot of our countries had like similar problems outside of what we hear in the news. And so we're able to be able to bring this diversity into one voice and also to create a very interesting solution. And I think what's really interesting for me is the community and the fact that I still speak with a lot of people from the policy hackathon up to now. I know when I got to the UK as a children's scholar, met with one of them that was on my team, Jennifer, and we had really interesting conversation. And I think also one of the very interesting moments also about the hackathon was the fact that we had support, and which is what we are also trying to do right now, is to ensure that it's also a learning moment. For most people who will be on the hackathon, they just signed up because they saw it online and because it sounded interesting to them. And so the support is also helpful for you to learn, whether you want to become a policy expert or you just want to contribute to solve a problem, or you are even just there for the money, because it's also a good reason to join the hackathon. Yeah. and so this is also really interesting because it's also not just the learning moment part of it, but it's also really good for whatever career as we want to do as individuals. You see standardized methods of writing these documents. I think one of the toughest documents to write is the policy document, because policy documents and laws are like the same thing. They're always very broad and so short at the same time. And being able to, within a word limit, express the idea in a way that both a professional and a beginner can understand what you're talking about is also very interesting. And I found a lot of it very helpful with even a lot of what I've been doing between then and now. And so, like Kim just said, we are bringing up a pool of experts outside of us as policy shapers, and also to see how we can help everyone achieve their individual goals and reason for participating in the hackathon. The Naija hackathon is going to be, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. It is the first one we are doing, but I'm also very, very sure that the team has something very, very prepared, and so that this would really be worth your time and also be a good learning moment for everyone.
Thank you so much, Toby. Thanks a lot. And Toby is a Chevron scholar, by the way. And I mean, Kenny is a PhD scholar at the University. Chimdi is a National Security Fellow. He's now a graduate of Seton Hall. Comfy is a founder institute. So all these people are like top people in various places, right? And so it's always nice to have them on the team and to work together on various things and all of the things that we're going to build in the future. So so that's a summary of the experiences we've had. There have been products from these hackathons. Again, just like I said, one of the mindsets we've had is we don't want it to just be events, people can come together, ideate and use that idea to do something. So the two dialogue events that we held at the Creative Commons Global Summit and the UNESCO Open Education Resources Camp, we're from the Policy Hackathon. Since we came to at the Stanford Global Datathon, we're able to create something like internet is unstable. It's back, okay. So we're able to create something like a framework, an open data framework that virtual universities can then use to help optimize their data, learn more about dropout rates and stuff like that. I mean, it's open source, it's on our website, but we were able to go talk more about it at these various sessions. And, we're invited by Creative Commons and UNESCO, and that was a very good thing. It helped us to, as individuals, and also helped us as an organization. Also, most of the work that's happened around reform IELTS, I'm sure that you guys must have seen all of the data points and evidence we've been able to share. I mean, one of the things I'm very proud of is the work that we, the advocacy task force at Reform IELTS, all the people that are working together with us, all that documents we put together, that can shake a foreign government. I just feel that we really should be proud of that. But all that would be possible if we didn't, come together and work on that first hackathon, and then open our eyes to policy writing and data analysis and policy analysis, and the fact that we don't need to wait till we grow older and become some government person before you write policy. You can be a random folk on social media, but because you just care about the particular issue, you can actually influence that particular issue when you start writing and putting stuff together and advocating, just as we'll be using the various channels, including help from our folks at chain.org. So these are some of the products, and we're also hoping that from this Naija Policy Hackathon, there'll be more products that will come out of this. People can have dialogue events. Any idea you have on ASU and this thing, we can engage them directly, write to them, bring them to a Zoom town hall meeting. If it means starting a petition or something, we can work together with you, start a petition, but that it won't just be idea for idea's sake, but we can move the ideas forward beyond just a policy idea to something that we can advocate for and even see come to reality. So with that being said, that is most of it for us. At this point, we will take questions. If people have questions or thoughts or feedback, I saw some question in the chat. It feels like Comfy was making a quick clarification that the idea behind this is not, we're not saying you should come and start an organization. Really, I mean, that might seem like a stretch. If you want to start an organization after this, great. But the idea is that Naija Policy Hackathon is a brainstorming and ideation program that we hope will bring young people together to create policy ideas, policy solutions, to common challenges that we currently face in Nigeria in the various sectors that concern young people: education, unemployment and underemployment, security, healthcare, etc., right? So that's the first thing that we're thinking about. After that, we can then work on whatever it is we want to work on to escalate the policy ideas forward. Yeah. So that's just to mention that. Yeah, and I saw that the Comfy has shared some link as well in the chat. So at this point, if you have any questions, feel free to come off the mic and let us hear you. For those that watch the recording later, feel free to mention us on social media if you have a question regarding the hackathon, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you. Yeah. Anyone? Okay, so if we don't have any questions, in closing, we'll just say thank you for joining us this evening. It's now 4:49. Thanks for spending. Okay, I can see Felua's hand is up. Okay, so let me just cut myself. Felua, you can come off the mic and ask your question. Or come off mute rather and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. My question is concerning the hackathon itself that you mentioned would kick off in August. When will we get to know the tracks that are available? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so the tracks available will be communicated in the registration form. We'll share the registration form starting from Monday, or sometime late on Sunday, tomorrow, to the various people in our community, and of course on social media and everywhere, and we'll broadcast it everywhere. So in the form, you would see the various tracks. There'll be three tracks: education, of course, like I said, the top things from the survey so far. The leading ones are these obvious suspects: the education, unemployment, and insecurity and police brutality. So yeah, so those are the three tags we have for now. But when we share that registration form, you would have the information from there. And I mean, feel free to start looking out for your team members. Really, put information out on Twitter or social media and say, please, I want to form a team. The maximum number for a team is five people. The list is 3 or 2. So just feel free to go out there, get as many people as you can get, and you guys should just come together and work. You never know how far these things can go. I mean, if there's any living testimony to how far these things can go, I feel Policyship is a good example, of what happens when people come together to solve problems. So feel free to do that as well. Yeah. Okay, any other question or comments or feedback, anything really, just feel free to jump in. We have, say, 5 minutes more before we wrap up. Any more? Okay. All right. So thanks, everyone. Just so we don't keep people waiting for so long, thank you again for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday. The exact time will be communicated, of course, via the MailChimp and via social media as well. So stay in touch with us. We'll have another expert come on and talk about policy analysis and memo writing. But thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and continue to shape your community and shape your respective countries. All right, bye for now. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye.